Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. What in the world are we doing with this 2 foot by 2 foot by 6 foot solid concrete mafia block that weighs about 3,600 pounds? Well, we just announced that we're going to be building a new pole building down in the wood yard, and we need a tremendous amount of fill to level up the building site. And I've got another project that I've been meaning to do that will generate some fill. I wasn't planning on doing it anytime soon, but the fact that we need fill, and I've got some here with this other project, we're going to go ahead and get this one done to generate the fill to take down there. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so I've been talking about doing this project for a couple of years now, and that is to dig out on the hillside behind the shop here. And the reason I want to do that is because this has always been a wet, soupy area on the backside. It's really hardly ever dries out. If I go back here, we've gone a couple days now without rain, and it's still just a muddy mess back here. So what I want to do is dig this back about 12 feet, give myself a nice parking pad about 12 feet. We'll make sure we establish fall away from the building, get drainage back in along the where the retaining wall is going to be. And that brings me to my next point. That's what the mafia blocks are for, is once we dig over about 12 feet, we're going to have probably about 4 or 5 foot of just a solid straight dirt wall that could potentially collapse. So those mafia blocks are going to be for a retaining wall. And again, we're going to have, you know, a tile back behind there. We're going to backfill the retaining wall with good, clean, washed stone so that that wall will never heave with the freeze and thaw cycles and want to push out. But like I said, this project is going to generate quite a bit of fill. If I've got, you know, 4 or 5 foot down to establish fall out from the shop there, and I'm going to start tapering it in right about there and go the full length of the building back, it's going to create a good bit of fill, not nearly enough to level up the building, but it's going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's going to get this project done and lessen the amount of fill that I have to bring in to level up the site down there. But the very first thing we got to do is make sure that my excavator, my Hyundai R60, can lift these 3,600 pound blocks. I think it's going to be on the brink of whether it can do it or not. It's either just barely going to be able to lift them, or it's just barely not going to be able to lift them. So I only bought one to start, because if I can't lift these with my machine, we're going to have to come up with a different plan here. All right, so we're all set up here to give this a try, lifting with the Hyundai mini excavator. Again, this machine is 13,600 pounds. All of the YouTube videos that I have watched, most people are using 8-ton machines like a Bobcat E85, something that weighs 18,000, 19,000 pounds. So I don't know if this machine's going to do or not. We're going to find out. But my question for you guys is straps or chains? This is a nylon sling strap rated for 6,400 pounds, and this is a 3/8 inch chain rated for 5,400 pounds. I have asked my 2 go-to subject matter experts, neighbor Doug and Kyle from Spicer Designs. Kyle says straps, Doug says chains. So I'll be curious what you guys think. I think I'm going to start out with the strap, just for the simple fact that it has 6,400 pounds of lift capacity versus 5,400, but they both have their weaknesses. This one, if you get a fray in it, you immediately cut your lifting capacity, and this one, if you've got a weak link in it, you immediately cut your lifting capacity. So, you know, this is only as good as its weakest link, and this is only as good as it is brand new. The second you put a slash or a gash in this, you might as well throw it out. So let's go ahead and try the strap out and see how it works. All right, now I am going to be using a D-ring shackle. This is a 3/4 inch shackle rated for 9,500 pounds. And the reason for this is because your toe point on the block is rebar, which could be rough. And again, we don't want to fray this, whereas this shackle is nice and smooth. So this is the only downside to using the nylon strap, is this is going to take a little bit longer each time to set up, because you've got to remove the shackle from each block, put it on the new one, and then set up your toe strap, whereas if you were just using the chains, you can just hook it to itself and be ready to go. There we go. Let's go ahead and give it a rip. So the problem is that it's up in the bed of the dump trailer, which is probably 24, 30 inches up off the ground, and I'm pretty much maxed out on my height for how high I can lift it. I'm almost thinking that if it was on the ground, I might be able to pick it up and move it. Maybe if we shorten up our strap and double it up a couple of times so that we don't have to lift it so high. Let's try that. We're wiggling it. All right, so the problem is I'm pretty much maxed out on my boom lift right now. I'm pretty much all the way up in the air. That's because the block is 2 feet up off the trailer bed and the trailer bed is 2 feet up off the ground. So my starting point is 4 feet up off the ground, plus then I've got about another foot of slack in the strap. So what I think I want to try to do is I've got this little slope over here to help me out. So I think I want to try to pull the trailer up right next to this hill and park the excavator up on top of the hill and try lifting it out that way. That way I'm lifting from a lot lower on the ground. We'll see how that works. All right, so we got the machine reset here, kind of set up like a loading dock, up higher. That way I'm reaching and trying to pick up from lower on the ground. I still kind of have my doubts on whether this is gonna work or not. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that I'm going to be swinging sideways with the weight. I kind of would have rather picked it up and then tracked it out of the dump trailer. So we'll see how this is going to go, but I kind of have my doubts whether it's still going to pick it up or not, but we'll see. All right, last try. I'm going to see if I can just walk it straight out the back. All right, so we've learned something today. My machine will not lift these 3,600 pound concrete blocks. I got one more thing I want to try to find out if it's a 6-ton Mini that won't lift these Mafia blocks or if it's a Hyundai 6-ton Mini that won't lift these Mafia blocks. We're going to take this over to neighbor Doug's house and see if his Bobcat E60 will pick these up. Now, there's no sense in picking it up and lifting it out of the dump trailer because we don't need these over at his house, we need them here. But so we're just going to take it over there and see if he's able to lift it up off of the bed and kind of track around a little bit. And if he can, then maybe there's a knock on a Hyundai Mini excavator. All right, so we made it over here to Doug's with his Bobcat E60. He has a brother-in-law who has an E55 who claims that he can lift these Mafia blocks with the E55. So let's see if the E60 can do it. Let her rip, Tater Chip. There you go.
I know why I wasn't lifting because I'm all the way back, but look at it's drifting down.
Yeah. But at least you could get it out and set a block if you needed to.
Boy, I don't know. But I lifted the blade up.
Oh, I thought you were sticking out.
No, that's why I did that. I lifted the blade up.
See,
So
I couldn't even do it with my blade.
So I wonder. All right, let me try something here.
You're able to slosh it around a little bit better than I could, but you still can't get it up and out.
So, if I do it with the blade down,
you just have to watch out for those D-rings there.
see, when I let go of the controls,
It's bleeding down a bit.
it starts drifting a little. Yeah, I kind of wanted to see if I could actually swing it or not, but that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, let it go. I'm going to mess with it here for a second. Yeah, I can't tell if my boom's all the way back or not. I think it is. Because I keep pulling on this and it's not going any further. So the only way I could do that would be to lift it like this. Yeah, as soon as I get out to that point, it starts bleeding off. Alright, if you want, turn that.
Yep, go ahead and set her down. All right, so we just got back from Doug's. His machine was able to lift it, but only with the blade completely down. The second he would let his blade up, the whole machine would start to tip forward. So if you can't move with these things, you can't set them. I mean, I suppose you could pick it up, move it over here, set it down, pick up your blade, track forward 2 feet, put your blade down, pick it back up, and that would just be a lot of screwing around. So clearly a 6-ton machine is not the right machine to be picking up these 3,600 blocks, or 3,600 pound concrete blocks. I think what I'll do is I will start stockpiling them. I'll pick up 1 or 2 here and there. And then once I have enough to do that project, I will rent a larger, you know, like a Bobcat E85 or a larger excavator or something. But for right now, I'm just going to get this dumped out and I'll start piling them up down here in the wood yard. All right, so far today has been a swing and a miss, chalking this one up to a big fat L in the loss column. But I do want to try one more thing, and that is to see if we can pick it up off the ground. I know we cannot pick it up out of the dump trailer, but I want to see if, since we have the dump trailer, if I'm able to go pick them up and dump them out where I want to put them, if I can then still at least pick them up and place them up off the ground. Now I know that won't help me with setting a block on top of this block because I can't get them up that high, but if I could set the entire first row with my machine, that might be 1 or 2 less rental days with a larger machine like a Bobcat E85. So I'm hopeful that I can still pick this one up and maybe track around with it a little bit, and maybe I could at least get started on that project. Let's find out. Well, there we go. I can pick them up and I can move them on the ground, but that is about as high as I can pick them up right there. And as far as placing them, let me back up here a little bit. I'll put the blade down and see how far I can reach out with this. Okay, blade down. My boom is pretty much all the way up, so we're just going to be sticking out at this point. I can get out a decent ways, but I can feel the pressure relief kicking in and I'm dropping. And now bringing it back in is kind of tough. I'm kind of dragging it back in. Yeah, sometimes the answer is you need more machine, and that's definitely the case with a 6-ton Mini and these 3,600 pound blocks. All right, guys, there we go. Today was kind of a bust, but that's the way she goes sometimes. And that's why we make these videos, so hopefully a day that we have that is a bust doesn't turn into a day that's a bust for you guys. If you watch the videos and you now know that a 6-ton Mini is not big enough to do a project like this. If you have a 6-ton Mini, or if you're thinking about doing a project like this and you want to know what size machine you need to rent, whether it's a 3.5 ton, which there is no way you're getting close with a 3.5 ton, or a 6-ton is borderline, but definitely still not big enough. And then probably an 8 or 9 ton is really the minimum size you would need to do something like this. But yeah, so for the time being, I think the game plan is gonna be just to start stockpiling these, and once I have enough of them to maybe lay the first row or the second row, then we will rent a larger excavator and get in there and get that project done. But since I don't have enough block and I don't have a machine to move the block, what we'll probably do is hold off on that project for the time being, because I don't want to start digging out that hillside without having the block ready to go to set in there, because if that hillside starts to slough off, that whole hillside could give way and then come crashing into the shop. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. We'll wait until we have all the block and the right machinery to do that project. Unfortunately, that means that all the fill that's going to be generated from that project, it's going to be too late, because we'll have the building down here already site prepped and probably built. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.